Alright, welcome Badlluck. So I've chosen to do a video replay for you. This is a game that you and I played on Swamps about a week ago, and you did really well this match. You got like around 4,000 damage. That was fantastic. There were a few things I wanted to kind of point out and help out. So things that would have just made this round a lot better had you done this. Like you would have easily been able to get well into the 4.5k damage. We'll kind of quickly speed up. We'll point out the things that you did good and things that you could have improved on. So first off, let's talk about the map. So we're on Swamp, and Swamp's a bit of a it's a unique map because it has an area right here, the southern side, that is pretty much so used for tanks that can do ridge lines, and then you have the city, which is kind of a brawling zone. But it's pretty divided. In the sense of, like, you can't go into this area obviously because of the water, but because of also the TDs. So it's very one side or the other. A lot of times what will happen is a lot of tanks will go north, especially from the south spawn, and they usually just get the shit kicked out of them because there's TDs sitting here. They can shoot across this open field that they have to run across, and they usually get messed up. A lot of times what happens here is that one side will gain leverage over the other, in which case this side will roll over, this side will roll over, and if the south side rolls over, there's usually TD sitting back in this corridor that usually prevents the team from moving up this way. So that's kind of how the map kind of unfolds. Obviously, this is the way that our this time it unfolds. So let's start off. We're coming over here. It's not a bad choice. And right off the bat, we see this LTTB. I'm going to say perfect job on taking out this LTTB. You roll up, you visualize your shot, you take aim, gave him lead, and pop. And then somebody else hits him, and then you finish him off. And doosh, there's a light tank out of the game, right? Fantastic. You're already up to 813 damage. Great way to start this. Now, with autoloaders, there kind of comes a choice right about now, where it is to reload or not to reload. Okay, so we don't know what's on the other side of this hill. We haven't spotted anything. And you have a 30-second reload time. So you could choose to reload right now, and it wouldn't be a mistake because you have this hill. We're advanced far enough forward. I've made it to the top of the hill, and there's nothing on the other side. We don't see anything. So I think that if you would have reloaded in this period, you would have been able to finish off that Emil and squeeze out a little bit more damage. Well, this Emil that we're about to see here. So we see another Emil too. You roll up to the hill like you should. So let's speed that up just a little bit. So we're sitting here taking shots and rolling back. Alright, so right here. So you roll up, you get your shots, and you take perfect ones, man. It's great. So had you have reloaded, you'd have another shot to put out, another 265 damage that you could squeak out on him, because you have right about 300 alpha, right? So unless you really low rolled him, he'd be dead. But this is something I'd like to point out as well. All right, so I do not understand why you're sitting here while reloading. A huge thing about autoloaders, you need to get safe. There are some pretty scary TDs, a Waffenträger, a Scorpion G, and an FE 405, 4005. Now, we can see the 4005, and we know where the Waffenträger was last spotted, but we don't see the Scorpion G. Usually Scorpions sit down in here. Okay, so I know that you have really well angled armor on your turret, but there is zero reason to sit exposed. And this is just to protect your HP, and I know that you don't get shot at and you don't take any damage in this first part, but it's just the safe practice of I'm clipping, I need to back off, is something that you should start implementing regardless of if there's anybody back here or not. So, keep going. Alright. So, Emil eventually goes down. There we go. And then we kind of hold off because we don't know where that Scorpion G is. So, let's see here. Eventually the FE4202 will move. And he'll end up running across the field. So let's kind of speed this up real quick. There we go. Alright, cool. So our team starts pushing, and we start pushing. Alrighty. So, pretty standard. I mean, we just need to verify that we're not going to get shot in an open field. Alright, so we see Artie. So right up here, I noticed that you have nothing but heat loaded in your tank, which, okay, if you want to use heat, that's awesome. It's got 300 and some change pin versus the almost 250 that the APCR rounds have. There's advantages, pros and cons to having APCR and heat. A lot of tanks in this game don't require heat. I mean, there isn't really anything super heavy except for maybe this Object 252, so that you really want heat on. So the APCR round is much faster, and you miss this shot here, but I think if you would have had APCR, you would have hit it. Another disadvantage of heat is if it hits anything in between it, fence, a wall, anything like that, it's not going to penetrate all the way through, right? It's going to stop on that wall. And it kind of operates kind of like an AG shell. So there's disadvantages to that. And I think this also applies when you deal with this Waffenträger over here. So look for another shot on the Artie. Can't get him. That's fine. It happens. You're pushing up. All right. So you see the Waffenträger. All right. So you take this shot right here. Once again, this is where I think if you would have had APCR loaded, I think you would have hit him. Okay. So you shoot, and it's just off, right? You get the tracking shot, and then someone else finishes him off. So you got one shell left. I think you use the shell quite wisely. You find this shot on this Artie, right? Okay, and bop. There you go. Awesome. Now, I think that you make a mistake here because you are not reloaded. You still have another like 20 seconds left on your reload, and you are now charging out into an open field. So we have an Oho that's left alive out there. He's got 715 or 751 HP. Okay, well that's the Object. Sorry. But we don't know how much HP he has left, right? He's got Object 252, we got a AMX 5120, a 4005, and a 57 Heavy. All right, so we have two autoloaders, huge alpha, and huge armor, okay? And you choose to charge out into this field. The only piece of cover that we have is this guy right here, and then whatever cover they have in there, right? I mean, like, so whatever buildings might be blocking their angles, but if they're sitting, like, right in this area, they have nothing but shots on you. So that's a huge thing that you need to worry about. Don't push out if you don't have the clip. I mean, like, I understand that you want to charge down that FV202, okay, and that's fine. Getting in position to when your clip is back up to start shooting is great, but you could have done that over here, right? You could have went down the railroad track, got into a position here, and started shooting at him, where you would have had cover that could have blocked these guys over here and still got your shots on your FV4202. Okay, so on top of that, I also think that you get your 140 killed because you make the 140 reverse. And so what happens is the 140 rolls in, he starts to encircle the 202. The 202 is tracked, right? He can't turn. So all he can do is turn his turret. So your 140 is trying to circle him. That way this 202 can't shoot him. So what happens is you drive up, you bump him, and he has to run back in front of his gun, which means that he takes a damage, which you see right here. That was from him. And then the AMX that's over here that we can't see kills him. So, now I understand that that was an ammo rack and he lost all his HP in one shot, but he would have been where you're at had you not accidentally bumped him. So, because your clip just now came back up, you never got a shot in any of that. And, I mean, even though that you do really well on backing out of this, I mean, like, you block all their shots, except for the FE's shot. You do really, really well in trying to keep your armor angled, but there was zero reason for you to be there, and you ultimately got the 140 killed. So now moving past that, all right, so I think that you use this cover right here on this dead Artie perfectly well. This T57 Heavy is charging us, right? You have a full mag, he has a full mag. okay? But you have cover. Okay, he may still be able to see you, but you push it out, and this is perfect, man. Way to go. That was awesome. And you get your shot in, track him, he burns his repair kit, you put one into his lower plate, and already finishes him off. Fantastic, man. Alrighty. So now we're just kind of waiting and playing the poking game. Waiting for the object 263 to roll in, and the ELSC. Alright, right here. Alright, you switch between these two targets here in a sec. I think if you would have kept aiming at this AMX down here, that you would have been perfectly fine. You would have killed him, right? But you jump between the two, and then you miss your opportunity. He turned his ass out, and instead of focusing on one target and recognizing that he's probably going to rotate, you jumped over to the Scorpion. And, I mean, you end up putting a shot over at him, which is fine, but, yeah, I think you would have killed that AMX had you have just kept your aim right on him. So you're reloading. Let's go ahead and fast forward. Nothing really happens here. We just kind of poke. The EVA 90 rolls in and starts spotting. I realize what's going on, and I end up charging in, which is great. So you recognize that. You get low. You stay in cover. I'm trying to get my shot out to the FE as quick as possible. Alright, so you get a beautiful ammo rack right here. Just boom. Fantastic. Love that shot. I could watch that all day. Alright, so we do the right thing. We push up into city, we take the red line, and what we're trying to do is collapse on this 252U. So, there'll be a moment up here that I think that I would like to point out. So, you're looking for shots, it's fine. Just keep rolling. So we drive up. Okay. Alright, I end up doing something stupid. I end up getting blown up. Okay, Scorpion G nails me. Alright, so it's right in here. So what happens is you... And here, we'll slow it down. You roll out. First off, you roll out broadside to him, which I understand. I mean, like, you're trying to come out and clip him out. And then the Scorpion G puts a shot into you, right? Okay. Bang. Alright. You keep falling back. I want to point out that you are not counting reload times. The Defender just shot. He has a 15-second reload time. The Scorpion just shot. He has a 12-second reload time. Here's how you play this. You, instead of rolling back, you shot and hit his armor and you panicked. You should have stood there. He shot. Scorpion then shoots you in the back. You had the HP to do it. Clearly, you're at 151. What you could have done was just aimed at the lower plate. You have heat loaded, okay? You would have pinned his lower plate, and you have 2 shots to make sure that it goes in, okay? So what should have happened is you should have shot him and killed him. Well, it would have taken the 2 shots to kill him because you only have 300 alpha, or about 400 alpha, right? No, it's about 300. Anyways, so you would have had to take your 2 shots to kill him, right? And then you would have just retreated and let the Scorpion G get pushed by this FE202 and this EVA 90. But instead, what happens is you just keep backing up, and you don't dispense your other shots, and it ends up getting you killed. Yeah, you killed the Scorpion, which is fine, but this Defender kills you. You could have already killed him. He could have already been dead, and you probably would have survived this round. Alright, instead, what ends up happening is we have this really long, drawn-out fight that these guys can't kill this Defender because he's dug into a position, and he almost wins this game. I mean, if 28 Prot has full HP, and he ends up coming in and saving the day, but he gets pretty messed up. Like, all of this right here could have been avoided had you just taken the time to aim your shot after he had fired, right? So he gets around, he ends up killing the EVA 90, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, so do this. Okay, already takes him out. Okay, cool. But this could have been kind of avoided. So, Other than that, those are the only things that I was seeing that you could work to improve on. Is recognize reload times. I'm not sitting there saying that every tank you have to memorize all the reload times. Oh my god! But what I am saying is that like a heavy tank of that size and with that caliber of gun usually has about a 15-second reload time. So give yourself 10 seconds of time. 10 seconds from the time he fires to roll out to shoot to return back safely to your cover before his shot is back up. Same thing with those TDs. It's a pretty high caliber gun. It's going to be anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds that those things have reload times of. Okay, so start memorizing the general reload times of it, or give them a value, right? Say, I have 10 seconds here. I have 8 seconds here, right? And you'll notice that you'll start surviving a lot more. You'll start being able to take the time to take the shots, because that defender was yours by rights. All you needed to do was just stop and aim. And that's another thing, is like you can actually sit there and trade HP as a value. It's a resource, dude. I mean, you taking no damage is cool, but you could have used it more to get more value out of it, right? You could have recognize that I could trade HP to guarantee this tank is destruction, or guarantee that this tank actually that I get more damage on this tank, right? So the biggest things that I noticed were driving out when you don't have your clip, not falling back when you are reloading your clip, and situational awareness. You bulldozed in on that 4202. I think that you could have done that a little better. I think that honestly you could have just went over here and then gotten your shots on them in here. Yeah, but all in all, I mean, you got 4,000 damage in the game. You blocked 1,200. I mean, you did really, really well, man. This is fantastic. You got high caliber. You were pretty much so top on the team for damage and experience. So, dude, it was fantastic. It's just, if you were to tweak and fine tune these things that I pointed out, then you'll start having way more consistent games, and just you're winning, it's going to skyrocket. You're going to feel better about it, and I think that you kind of filled the role of this Emil pretty well. Like, it suits your playstyle. You understand how to play it, and I just wanted to say congratulations, great game. And if you have any other questions, feel free to talk to me in TeamSpeak. I'm more than happy to answer them, and I hope this serves as a tool to help you improve. So, all right, man. I'll catch you on. Bye.